Alright, I want to talk quickly about this section, 8.14, scale factor of similar polygons. Now, we talked a little bit about this in the next section, and some of these homework problems I'm not a big fan of, so I think this one's going to be really fast and really easy. So, the big thing here is we're going to be discovering some measurements through a way of measuring called indirect measurement. So instead of actually getting our ruler out and measuring a shape, we're just going to be using logic to figure out the measurement of sides. So we're going to use logic instead of a ruler to find measurements. For example, if I have a rectangle and another larger rectangle, and I know that these are similar, and the side here is 2 centimeters, this side is 4 centimeters, and say I'm going with a scale factor of times 2 to build this other rectangle. I don't have to measure this rectangle out that I put on my paper. In fact, if I measured it, I'd probably be wrong. But I can use indirect measurement to figure out the size of this rectangle. In fact, I can see that clearly these smaller sides correspond, and 2 times 2 is 4 centimeters. And up here on the top is 8 centimeters. And I can see that my scale factor in here worked out. In fact, I can even use my other knowledge about rectangles to fill in the rest of the measurements if I need to, because I know that opposite sides are congruent in a rectangle. As another example, say I had a smaller triangle, and I'm going from 3, 3, and 2, and then I'm building a larger triangle. And here my scale factor is times 3. I can make sure that my sides are corresponding. My triangle didn't shift. So my scale factor is all I go is take my 2, multiply by 3, and I've got 6. 3 times 3 is 9. And I can see that now my triangles are corresponding, and here is the scale factor. That's going to be the key for what we're talking about this time. You're going to be finding the scale factor between two shapes. And typically we use it when we go from smaller to larger. However, you can mix it up. It just will be the reciprocal of it. For example, if I was going from this side back this direction as a scale factor, I would be times 1/3, because 1/3 of 9 would be going to 3. Same as over here, if I'm going backwards, my scale factor would be times 1/2. Well, half of 8 goes to 4. And recall that the reciprocal of something is when I take it, say I have 4, and I can write that as 4 wholes, right? 4 over 1. And if I flip it, I have 1/4. Or if I take 3/7 and I flip it, I turn into 7/3. We did that when we were dividing fractions. This is very, very common. So that's really all you're going to be doing in this section. And for this section, I'm not a fan of the later questions. So I just want you to do the questions number 1 through 4, which is going to be pretty quick. Do questions numbers 1 through 4. That's it. So this should be pretty quick, and I don't anticipate it taking very long. But if you have a question, please find an adult, find a friend, or feel free to look it up.